we got to go to a woman who is currently being sentenced or being prepared to be sentenced because she beat a man to death with a hammer. The same man who molested her and groomed her as a child. And she is currently waiting to be sentenced in August. This is her before she went in. And this is her most recent court appearance. Jail is one hell of a place.
Tonight at 6, in her own words, the woman facing murder charges, accused of killing a man with a hammer, took the stand herself ahead of her own sentencing.
After he grabbed you, what happened?
I just started swinging with the hammer.
Okay. And you had brought the hammer to the front of the house before he grabbed you, right?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Because I was scared. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Journey McGrew told the court that Waduda Woodley, a man she says that she'd known since childhood, molested her repeatedly for years. She says it started when she was in elementary school. McGrew was 21 when she killed 41-year-old Woodley last summer.
McGrew was set to be sentenced today, but the judge postponed it due to time constraints. News4Jax reporter Ashley French was in the courtroom today and has more on McGrew's testimony. And Ashley, what else happened?
Okay, enjoy. The hearing just lasted about 3 hours, but it was a very emotional day, especially for the victim's family, Woodley, who shared their personal testimonies in terms of who Woodley was to them.
Well, Ted was not just my only son. Well, Ted was a dad. He was a brother. He was an uncle. He was a nephew. He was a cousin. And he was an employee. He was a handyman. He was a taxpayer. But most of all, he was one of God's creators.
Journey McGrew pleaded guilty last December to killing Waduda Woodley. She claimed Woodley sexually groomed her starting when she was just 8 years old. Woodley was found dead last December, his body covered in blood in the breezeway outside an apartment on Jacksonville's west side. Police claim he had been killed with a hammer, and there was a handwritten note placed on his chest that read, "Pedo touches children."
How were you feeling when he grabbed you?
So I didn't know what he was going to do. And then he turned around and grabbed me, and that made me feel scared, too.
McGrew was taken into custody that same day and pleaded guilty last December.
This is a very difficult thing to think about. So at one hand, we have a woman who, well, from her words, was groomed and sexually assaulted by a pedophile when she was in elementary school. And I'm assuming maybe the trauma or just the fear of that happening again has made her snap. But could she get away with that? Maybe if she had some proof. But trying to prove self-defense is hard. That's why I'm assuming that's why she pled guilty. It's a tragic situation. I do wonder if they have any proof that he truly molested her, or if he was a good man who, I don't know if she made a mistake or she just wanted to kill him. What are your thoughts, y'all? Let's keep going.
McGrew is charged with second-degree murder and tampering or concealing with evidence. According to a police report, police say that she had texted Woodley that she had been fantasizing about him and felt bad about how she treated him, then later asked him to come to her apartment, where investigators say he was killed.
Just that this was not supposed to happen, and I really wasn't in my right mind when this happened. I'm not violent, and I'm sorry for this situation and everything.
Moments after court, we spoke to Woodley's daughter. Yeah, what did you feel about the defendant's statements that she gave today on stand?
It don't make sense. Like, we gonna have to be the same age. Like, we are the same age. You saying you was 8, 9, 10, I was 8, 9, 10 too. Nah, it just lies, man. I can't even comprehend it. Cause like me personally, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do what she did. If I had the same thing that she had going on, I wouldn't have did it.
I don't. She said she's the same. Because he said that's his daughter. So I'm assuming she's trying to say that it didn't happen to me and I lived with him. But I don't think pedophiles will go after their own family. Some will, but majority try to hide it. Now, I'm not saying that he's a real pedophile or not, but it's hard to say that you were in distress when you invited him to your house. You flirted with him through text. Sounds like you was setting him up. You was maybe trying to get revenge, but saying that he grabbed you and you got scared is not going to work. But let's get over into this most recent video, because she is recently going to be sentenced in August.
New evidence in court today delayed the sentencing for Journey McGrew. She pleaded guilty to beating a man to death with a hammer and now faces the possibility of life in prison.
McGrew killed Waduda Woodley, a man that she says sexually groomed her since childhood, and she left a note referencing that on his body after she beat him. McGrew's mother took the stand today in her defense. News4Jax reporter Ashley French was in court and explains why the judge pushed sentencing to a later date.
All right, Ms. McGrew, good morning, ma'am.
Well, in an over 2-hour court hearing that was supposed to determine Journey McGrew's final fate in court, it actually took an interesting turn when McGrew's mother, Jennifer Owens, who is currently serving jail time, entered the courtroom with heavy emotions as she took the stand.
She's a wonderful child. I never had any problems with her. Just a loving person all the way around.
Does Journey have any mental health problems that arose later?
Yes, I didn't see it when she was younger, but as she got older, and I did see.
Well, new evidence presented in court today focused on McGrew's mental health. Our records show that she was diagnosed with schizophrenia, PTSD, and bipolar disorder. Her clinical neuropsychologist testified that McGrew was prescribed medication, but took it inconsistently, according to medical records presented in court.
She has from the very beginning, a developmental history that was not ideal.
McGrew's doctor says that she has a long history with trauma, including physical, sexual, and verbal abuse, may have led to her decision-making the night she killed Waduda Woodley with a hammer.
She maintained some understanding of the rightfulness and wrongfulness, but her judgment, her ability to regulate her behavior, her ability to manage impulses, her threat perception, her ability to think and reason through consequences of behavior, all of that was significantly diminished.
And her mother agreed when questioned by the prosecutor.
Well, I do know my daughter, and I do know she most likely was protecting herself.
Factoring in all the circumstances, McGrew's attorney is asking for a less than 20-year sentence. But Woodley's family isn't convinced and wants a harsher sentence.
The state is requesting a life sentence. The victim's family has requested a life sentence, and a life sentence is the appropriate disposition here.
And even after all the evidence was presented, the judge says she still needs more time before making a final decision on McGrew's sentencing. But for now, in Jacksonville.
The prosecution and the family of the victim wants life. Death in jail. Now the main question is, did he truly sexually assault her? Is he truly a pedophile who preyed on her in elementary school? That will put a lot of say in how much time she gets. Now, do I think she deserves to serve some time? Yes, ultimately it looks like to me she led him over there, tried to kill him. Do I blame her? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Of course, if she truly was sexually assaulted by that man, he deserves to spend as much time as he wants. He does not as much time, but he deserves to spend his entire life under the jail. He is a sick pedophile who deserves it. But we have no evidence of that. All we're going off of is his story. Maybe if the mother on the stand would have said, yes, she told me about that. But the doctors are saying that she had some kind of trauma, sexual trauma. I don't know if she told that to them. But what are your thoughts, y'all? Let's get over into the AI breakdown and see what else we can find out about this case. It's a tragic case. Now, do you think if he was a pedophile, do you think she should be able to get off and say that it was just emotional distress, however they would say it? But let's keep going into this. So as we know, We got the 22-year-old Florida woman has pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and tampering with evidence for a fatal bludgeoning of a 41-year-old man with a hammer. A man, she stated, sexually molested her and groomed her during her childhood. The attack occurred in the early morning hours of July 2nd, 2025, outside of the apartment at the Cross Creek Apartments in Jacksonville, Florida. Authorities found his body in a stairwell with a handwritten note in green highlighter on his chest that read, "Pedo touches children." McGrew testified that Woodley had known her since she was roughly 8 years old and repeatedly abused her. She never reported it as a child out of fear of being kicked out of the home. Background checks conducted by news outlets found no prior criminal convictions or official charges against him related to child sexual abuse. During the court hearing, defense evidence highlighted that McGrew suffered severe trauma and diagnosed with psychosis, PTSD, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder. After several days to review the mental health records and take witness testimony, her final sentencing hearing is scheduled for August 17th, 2026. Prosecutors are pushing for life, arguing that she took the law into her own hands, while McGrew has openly apologized to the victim's family, stating she is not a violent person. If you truly set him up, you can't bring those two together, because it sounds like they talked about the text messages, her inviting him to the house. So additional official reports indicate testimonies from the news and different coverages reveal very key details. So as we know, that the court documents revealed that he originally met her when she was approximately 8 years old because he was dating her older sister. Woodley eventually lived in the family home. McGrew testified that the molestation explicitly began when she was turned 13. Investigators discovered that on July 1st, McGrew sent Woodley a text message stating that she had been sexually fantasizing about him and regretting treating him poorly in the past. She used this text to invite him to the apartment. The defense talked about McGrew testified that her actual plan was not to kill him, but to lure him over to secretly collect evidence of his abuse to use against him. So after he arrived, they went to the local stores, drank together, and returned to her residence around 1 a.m. According to the police reports, Woodley began pressuring her for sex. When she refused and asked him to leave, she retrieved a hammer from her closet and hid it behind her back as they walked to the front door. She allegedly that he turned and wrapped his arms around her aggressively, prompting her to strike him. So when the police executed a search warrant on the apartment, they discovered bloody footprints leading straight to the bathroom. Inside, they recovered the blood-covered hammer, blood-stained clothing, and the exact green highlighter used to write the note that was left on his chest. When the officers first knocked on the door to question her following the discovery of the body in the breezeway, McGrew she ended up blurting out to the officers, "Is he still alive?" So prosecution highlights that she never told her mother or the doctors about the alleged abuse until 2024 and never once contacted a law enforcement prior to the homicide. McGrew testified that she kept silent for years because she feared her family would become homeless if Woodley was kicked out, and she didn't want to ruin her sister's life. During her pre-sentencing hearing, clinical neurologist or neuropsychologist testified that she had a Baker acted shortly after the murder occurred, so involuntary mental health hold. The doctor stated that while she maintained a basic understanding of her actions, her multiple severe mental health disorders caused her threat perception and impulse regulation and the ability to reason through the consequences to be significantly diminished. So the prosecution, aside from arguing that she acted as a vigilante, the prosecution stated that a life sentence is required because her violent tendencies triggered when she becomes paranoid and delusional. They argue that the incarceration is only definitive way to ensure that she would remain strictly on her required psychiatric medications, claiming the community release or probation poses too much of a danger. Now we took in a lot of information there, but the main things I'm getting is that she didn't tell anybody about this abuse. Now that's not to say it didn't happen, but it's hard to claim self-defense when you have no record of you ever saying that there was an attack in the first place. Now, if he is a pedophile, he deserved everything that got to him. But I do wish she would have came to someone, told them in the time, and hopefully they could have stopped and protected her when she was a young child. If this truly was happening, I wonder if the mother noticed anything in her behavior that changed, or the people who was taking care of her, if they noticed. It's a tragic scene, but at the end of the day, she's going to have to go to jail. As simple as that. Now, I don't know if she was truly tried to lead him over there for the purposes of killing him, or if it was like she said and she was only trying to lead him over there to collect some evidence of the assault. But things went terribly wrong, and she's going to have to be in jail for a long time. Now we'll have to wait to see what the judge decides. If he's going to give her a lean more towards the life, or if he's going to lean more towards 20 years. But what are your thoughts? And how much time do you think she should get? Or do you think we should just go with her word and she should be released? It's a crazy situation, y'all, but let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said.